The most obvious alt pick in your life could be flying right past your awareness, and you could miss out on some incredible stuff. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy JT, and we are back to the Crypto Den. Thank you all for tuning in. Today, we're going to cover one of my favorite alts, okay? I'm the long-term investing alt guy. I study this stuff day and night, and I've been a bull on this alt for a very long time. And before I get into it, leave you hanging just a little bit. For those who do not know, my name is Jake Tullis. I also go by JT. I run a crypto hedge fund out of Cincinnati, Ohio called Bleeding Edge Capital. And we are a research-driven fundamentals shop. I have over 10 years of software development experience. I leverage that to underwrite the actual tokens that we're holding for long term. I specialize in going through the alt market, so everything that is not Bitcoin, Ethereum, and identifying specific markers for adoption primarily. And I try to invest my partners, my investors' capital in the protocols that are being adopted, but the price hasn't moved yet. One of those things was Chainlink. That's the alt. And I've been a Chainlink bull for a very long time. Chainlink was super interesting to me because the way we move data from one place to another currently is through APIs. You could think of an API as a translator that sits in the middle. You have one person speaking Spanish and you have another person speaking English, and then right here in the middle is the API or the translator that allows you guys to communicate. Chainlink is exactly that, except it makes this new version of an API called an oracle, and it's for blockchains. So Chainlink can sit in the middle of someone with Web 2 data that's important, and I'm going to show you a ton of stuff today that highlights this. But this is the biggest part about Chainlink. If you have data in the Web 2 world, which, there's a lot of data there, hundreds of trillions of dollars of data, and then you have a use case over here, a developer that wants the data, a user that wants the data, whatever. Chainlink sits in the middle and lets you communicate JSON to Solidity, as an example. So you can just translate both worlds to make sure they work together. And the token itself is a part of that process. And we're not going to go deep into Chainlink today. I can make another video about that if you guys want to learn about the technology of Chainlink. But that's the main concept I want you guys to understand. It is a translator between data that's off-chain and utility on-chain. And the token is part of that market dynamic that allows people to sell data and consume data. So builders pay for the data, and then the people with the data sell the data. No different than APIs. You might have to pay $10,000 a month for Google Maps data. That's how they monetize all their satellites. If I'm building Uber, I'm paying Google every month for the Maps data. So I don't have to build it. They already have it built. I put my little Uber stuff over top of it, but I pay them for that data and that feed and all that stuff through APIs. Oracles are the same exact thing, but for on-chain. Now that that very important concept has been explained, hopefully you get it. Ask questions in the comments if you don't. I want to show you some crazy stuff going on with Chainlink that explains why I am so bullish. And again, this is what fundamentals research looks like. It's understanding the solution, understanding the market opportunity, the market size, and then seeing if it can even meet that need in the market. First things first, 100 billion. I bought this token when that number was at hundreds of millions. Just an idea. This is how much financial data it is translating. You could think of it that way. Total value secured. That is how much value is being recorded and translated by Chainlink. So people are using it. This is what I would call an adoption metric. So it is peaking. This is the highest ever. Now, it's no coincidence that we're starting to see ETFs come out for Chainlink, guys. Just like Bitcoin, just like Ethereum. The alts are coming. Your boy JT does know things, just a little bit. So you got Link ETFs coming, and there was actually a Link treasury company. I think it was QQM, something like that. There we go, Caliber. Really interesting. But what we're seeing is institutional adoption of Chainlink. Not only from an investment thesis because of what I just described, how the API market is multi trillions. You know how people say data is business and people are making money off your data? That's real. And you sell them through APIs. If you're giving a company your information, they are packaging it and selling it in the form of APIs. It's a multi-trillion-dollar business. That's how much value moves through those channels. And Chainlink is trading at a $30 billion market cap. So it's got a lot lot of room to grow. It could see some of that growth here soon if retirement accounts can start buying Chainlink. And the reason why they're looking at Link instead of other alts is because of the stuff I'm about to show you. There are people that are using Link as a treasury strategy, so they see increased, I guess, profitability just by Link the token. And the reality is, Ethereum's at 500 billion market cap. Yes, ETH will be a huge place. It could have 10, 12 trillion on it when it's all said and done. I really don't know. It could have more. I have no idea. If that were to happen, Chainlink would do a lot better because it's a much smaller token, 30 billion. So if you're long on Ethereum, you should be long on Link because it will outperform Ethereum in the same time frame. Because if you buy now, not that this is financial advice ever, but at 30 billion, if it got to a few hundred billion, that's a 10, 12x. And then Ethereum would have to get tens of trillions to see a 12x. So it might do a 4 or 5x, which is great. But Chainlink in the same time could do double that. That is a big part of it. If it wasn't for that, it's also what all this other stuff is. So as you see here, the SEC wants to use Chainlink for on-chain compliance or just bringing compliance on-chain. Remember, Web2 data, all their data is in everyone's data. They're in silos in their own world with their own administrator, their own permissions, doesn't leave outside of these APIs. So you can't use APIs for on-chain because Ethereum is Solidity. The Ethereum virtual machine doesn't understand what that data is. That's what Chainlink does. It makes it Ethereum's language. For the SEC to use Ethereum for compliance, they need Chainlink to do it. Do you see how critical Chainlink is to Ethereum's growth and development and how it's so well positioned as Ethereum grows? Here's another great example of that. The U.S. Department of Commerce is using Chainlink to bring their data onto Sei. Not even Ethereum. Chainlink's branching out to other blockchains. It now has oracles on top of Sei, which is a completely different ecosystem. For macroeconomic data to get on chain, for people to build models, AI, you can do a lot with this data, but you can't do it on chain if it's only being sold through those APIs, if it's even being sold, or if it's only being used internally by that department. They could do so many cool things with this data now, all because of Chainlink. And we haven't even gotten into real world assets. So we're just talking about everything going on today. The next part of this video is going to be about real world asset tokenization because Chainlink is at the heart and center of real world asset tokenization. And you may ask why. The main reason is Chainlink is at the center of real world asset tokenization because if you have gold here, or you have, and we're about to go over this Disney thing, you have Mickey Mouse content. That's a real world asset. Copyrights, all of the legal stuff that go into the Mickey Mouse content. This is an asset, okay? You have oil. These are physical assets. And then you want to be able to do something with it. So we'll just call this Web3/crypto. It could be an app. We'll just call it an exchange here. Exchange, and they want to be able to sell these commodities. Okay, that's like one of the things they want to do. So you want to be able to sell tokens of gold. That's what your goal is. And then this will equal, we'll do gold.t. That's the token for the gold. And then you need to know a lot of things to even sell this token to Web3. And then from Web3, you need to get it all the way to the exchange. And this model applies to Mickey Mouse content with Disney, right? Or gold or any other commodity, literally any other real world asset. The data, meaning I personally have 1 ton of gold, 30 something million dollars or $300 million or $3 billion. I really don't know, but 3880 times some zeros. But let's just say it's 300 million. I got $300 million of gold and it's sitting in this vault. A human needs to inspect that vault. Like, we need verification that the gold is real, that it actually exists. And then you need to mint. If you're doing 1-to-1, you would have 338 million tokens. And then that one token would represent 1 out of 338 million shares. That's how many tokens exist. So you could literally fractionalize the gold down to $1 with the tokens. And then you could sell that on the market. And the gold would just stay in the vault. But all of the data that would allow people to trust this project is all Web2 data. You have to have physical people making sure the gold's real. Physical people representing the project of the token. You're going to have people build the stuff in between. This is all Web 2 data. All of this needs to get to Web 3. You need Chainlink to bring all of that data to Web 3. All of this can be done internally, but the second you want to show another user, it needs to be able to work with Ethereum. We just put that into ETH or say, right? That's how it works. I know it's a shitty image. I apologize. But Chainlink is what gets all of this data into the actual network, so it can be used over here. And you would probably have oracles genuinely like all over the place. The average application uses 12 oracles. So there's serious network effects too. Getting the data on chain is like genuinely the hardest part about RWA. And Chainlink is right in the middle of it. And you can see that with Disney needing to use Chainlink to put their real world content engine on chain. They want to make NFTs, they want to have an ecosystem, probably a virtual world, a virtual theme park. Like, they want to do all that stuff. So, they need Chainlink to do it. Here's another example of how a consumer app. So we have enterprise development, that's Disney. We have layer ones needing it. We have the government needing it. And now we have consumers needing it. This is a retail app, so it's the app layer. It's not even the infrastructure. It's not the big boys. It's not the regulatory department. It is retail as well. Chainlink is everywhere. Polymarket needs to use Chainlink to offer a new feature because it needs the real-time settlement of the data, which is what oracles do. Almost all of the features we dream about in crypto require real-time data feeds and settlement. Block finality that matches blockchains. We need so many things, and Chainlink can deliver. Then we have the real world asset, Ondo. Ondo is the firm that is bringing securities on chain. They launched the first on-chain EFT. They're bringing stocks onto Solana. Ondo is the dark horse in the RWA race. I've been in Ondo since below 10 cents. It showed adoption right out the gate. They have ties to enterprise. They have ties to Wall Street. It is a great project. And they have to buy Chainlink to do their business. Look at that. Chainlink oracles for real-time, tamper-proof pricing. For them to actually bring the stock market data onto Ondo's ecosystem, its blockchain, it needs Chainlink for that exchange information to make sure it is secure and real-time. That way they can actually price the stocks they're bringing on chain. Chainlink is needed for that. Oracles are needed for that. It just keeps getting better, guys. The Department of Commerce, once again, this is actually all the things that they're doing. Bringing key U.S. government data on chain. Look at the use cases that the government's thinking about using. Automated trading strategies, increased composability of tokenized assets, issuance of new types of digital assets like stocks, real-time prediction markets for crowdsourced intelligence, transparent dashboards powered by immutable data, DeFi protocol risk management based on macroeconomic factors. They're going to be available monthly, quarterly as applicable, and they're going to be on 10 blockchains. Look at how deep Chainlink is. Chainlink's accelerated work with the U.S. government. Are you guys picking up on the pattern? Are you seeing why I'm such a big fan of Chainlink? This is incredible. You got World Liberty Financial, the president of the United States, his family's company, his DeFi protocol, is using Chainlink to run its company, using the CCIP, which is a whole nother thing. This is the last thing I want to touch on. So everything I talked about to this moment is about its Oracle business. It also has the CCIP, which is a cross-chain interoperability protocol. It allows you to build with the CCIP to allow for cross-chain swaps, working link into the fabric of that internet protocol. Anyone in the world can build with it. This team has made something that can literally just cause Chainlink to spread like a disease because they have this super easy interoperability layer that allows you to use data and put it on chain. At the heart of real-world asset tokenization are oracles. They really, really are. And I'm just going to really hit on oracles and Chainlink. Steady adoption curve, slow and steady. The amount of money being transferred is ripping. Hundreds of millions of dollars being turned on in real time, y'all. This could be the liftoff moment for alts and real-world asset tokenization. It's on 16 chains. All right, in recap, Chainlink is the bridge of Web 2 to Web 3. from a data perspective. Its token is at the heart of its function. Its team is almost 10 years veteran, and they have multiple business units already, and they are significantly undervalued. There could be tens of trillions of dollars secured on Chainlink. The impact to their revenue could be 10-figure quarters. The token would be priced at probably 800. That's my biggest bull case. I feel, and by the time I retire, this is like, I'm 30, so in theoretically 35 years. You're not going to find a better return though. It's 80x, right? That's crazy. 1,000 turns into 80,000. 10,000 turns into 800,000. That's a lot. Tech is the only thing that has ever returned that in the stock market, and it could be higher. I could be completely undershooting it. I don't know. I'm good with any outcome. $24 feels good to me. But anyways, it is a great project. It is at the heart of real world asset tokenization. It is at the heart of this transition to Web3. If you are long on the Ethereum virtual machine, you should consider looking at Chainlink. And as an honorable mention, as you saw in that one chart, Pith is its closest competitor. I also invest in Pith. My fund invests in Chainlink and Pith. I invest in Chainlink and Pith. I think they're both integral to the adoption of Web3. And I think they have solid tokenomics that put the token in a good position to get some of that value capture. And that's why I'm long on both of these projects. Hopefully you guys learned something. None of this is financial advice ever. This is all for education. I want you all to become knowledgeable. I want you all to become experts in this space. This channel is to help educate you on your journey. Hopefully it was helpful. If it was, please hit the sub, like, comment. It means the world to us. It really helps the content out. Until next time, take care of one another. Peace and love. I'll see you.